It does not have the USD forks from its international version. It does not get the beautiful aluminum swing arm on the R15 V3, and then it gets only single channel ABS. And of course there's the huge curveball that Yamaha threw at us, its price. So then the MT-15 is not at all exciting, or is it? Hello guys, and welcome to another review at IAMABIKER.com. I hope you saw the first ride review of the MT-15 that we did at the Boat International Circuit. And there I said the MT-15, although not so exciting on the track, should be much more fun on the street. And well, now we have it on the street. Well, not right now, but we had it on the street for the past 2 days. And we've been riding it. And I'll tell you what, it's quite surprising. So let's start with the engine and performance, the thing that really matters. So basically, it's got the same engine as the R15. There is nothing that is changed. Everything has been kept similar. It even gets the VVA and the slipper clutch. So what Yamaha have done is that they have also increased the rear sprocket size to give it more initial at lower revs. So one thing being the R15 being a sporty bike, it was meant to be ridden at higher revs, meant to have the maximum fun. So that way, what Yamaha has done is that they've given a larger sprocket at the rear. So at lower RPM, it's much more peppy. In fact, it's very wheelie friendly. If you have seen the intro by now, you will see that it's quite wheelie friendly. And in fact, you don't even have to put an effort to wheelie it. If you are a bit happy with the throttle, immediately it just starts popping the front wheel. And that's a lot of fun. And so coming to the engine as such, the main character, the typical Yamaha characters all remain. There is a lot of refinement. There is no issues with any heating, no issues like that. In the city, the gearing is so well sorted. You can slow down to a speed breaker in third gear and still pull off from like 15-16 kilometers per hour without any issue. That's something really nice. Out on the highway, probably this is not meant for the highway. Let's get that clear. It can sit at around the 90-100 mark, 110 also, but being so light and me being not so light, you can sit at the 100 all day, but probably lighter riders can sit at about 120. But this is not meant for the top speed. This is meant for having fun in the city. Mileage has been really good actually. It's been running more than 45 kilometers a liter. That is pretty impressive. And even the R15 for that matter was quite fuel efficient, and this being about 4 kilos lighter. And in fact, even though it's just 4 kilos lighter, it feels much more lighter than the R15, surprisingly, and probably because of the lack of the fairing. But when you ride it, you feel it's so nimble. And top speed, we didn't really try the top speed. I mean, it's not on an agenda for a bike like this. It should do decent speeds, much lesser than the R15, of course. So since it's going to be a city bike targeted at the youth, one thing you have to talk about is how the gears are and how the gearbox feels. So the gearbox is superb. It is so precise and so friendly, easy to use. You have a precise movement. There is no false neutrals. You know exactly what it's doing. Up, down, everything feels good. Clutch pull is also light thanks to the assistant slipper clutch. Now, one thing that is really important for a city riding machine is bottom end torque. Well, this engine is typically not known for its bottom end torque, but like I said earlier, the sprocket size is slightly bigger in this one compared to the R15. So that means you have better power and better pull at lower RPMs, which, like I said, is also very wheelie friendly. So once you're off the line in a little bit of hurry, yes, that wheel does come up. Coming to the pillion life, well, if you can see, pillion is not a very important aspect on this machine. Probably best to have a laptop bag or something smaller. That's that. And with the pillion, yes, the bike does struggle a little bit, but it's expected after all a high revving engine. Coming to handling and braking, so this is a Yamaha and a lot is expected when it comes to a Yamaha's with its handling and braking. So this does not disappoint. Probably the only place where I felt things could have been a little bit different is that I feel the front has become too light now. So when you're actually pushing it, you only need very, very fine corrections to move the bike from corner to corner, left, right. So if you overdo it, if you're coming from some other machine, there's a little bit of understanding that this is very light and you just need to put very minimal effort. I'm not saying a bad thing, it's actually a very good thing. You need very minimal effort to move the bike, and that's something very fun once you get used to it. So you just need to think about how you want to go, and the bike pretty much does it. There is no issues there at all. Again, talking about the handling aspect, of course the rake angle has been revised for more better street credentials. It is so very nimble in the city. You can take it between traffic. I mean, the next best thing to this would be a cycle. That's how nimble this is. U-turns are very tight. You can take very tight U-turns, no issues on that, and you can squeeze between traffic without any problem. So that's something really adding to the street credentials, and that's what the MT series from Yamaha is all about. Either way, coming to the braking, well, I told this at our track review as well. The front is not as sharp as it could have been, but when I spoke to a couple of Yamaha engineers at the launch, they told me they kept it on purpose so that in city conditions, mostly, you know, there are people jumping, animals, whatever, and when you want to brake suddenly, they do not want you to get surprised, or since the entire bike is light, it could lead to a situation where only pro riders could manage it and not the amateur riders. So they kept a very progressive feel to it. So one thing that is going to happen is if you jam the rear, it's going to slide out, but I always think that's a good thing. It's a whole lot of fun when you see the rear sliding. I know you can do a lot of drama. Now coming to the suspensions of this machine, it is on the stiffer side, not something as stiff as you find on the Duke, but not as comfortable and plush as you see on the FZ series as well. So for a street bike, it is still okay, and you don't feel that much stress. It does soak up pretty decently. Coming to the tires, these are the MRF Zappers. They have done their duty quite well on the FZ, and they find their way onto this bike as well, and I have no complaints with it. They do have a little bit of heat up time, so apart from that, things are pretty stable. The ABS also works well, no issues in that. Coming to the headlight, when I saw the size of this, saw how small and cute it is, I really did not think it would be that great, because I'm not a huge fan of LED headlights as well, because they barely throw any light on the road, and the FZ25 did nothing to really change my mind on it. But this is actually quite brighter than the FZ25. You have proper sharp cutoff thanks to the projector. I wish the throw was a little bit better, but this is still visible, so it's a much more usable light than the FZ25. Another thing that I feel people should watch out for is that, I told this at first ride at booth as well, is that the coolant reservoir is over here, because on the R15 they used to pack it within the fairing, but of course, you know, lack of space, they have packed it over here. So that's something to watch out for. It is not the lowest part obviously, but it is still near the ground, and you know, if you are doing some spirited off-roading, which this bike is not meant for, that is something to watch out for. But overall, if you ask me who this bike is for, I think this is perfect for your being a first bike. I would say go for it, and you'll have a lot of fun, and it will take a lot of time to outgrow this bike as well, because the more you grow confident, the more the bike says that you know I can do much more than what you can do. So in that way, it's a whole lot of fun bike. One quirky thing is that the key for releasing the C is down here, and another quirky thing is that the horn switch is not where it's supposed to be, and the indicator switch, they have been swapped like how you would see on the new CB300R. So those are things that did not be meddled with. Every other bike has the same setup, so that way it takes a bit of getting used to, because I ended up honking when I wanted to turn, and ended up switching on the indicator when I wanted to honk. So that was a bit confusing initially. Overall, I think it's a beautiful bike. It's light, it's compact, it's easy to ride, it's very friendly to ride. I really wish it could really have that performance or the feel of that grunt. The engine is so refined that you don't feel the grunt, but the speeds do build up. So in that way, you don't feel that urgency, but the speeds do build up. It is still quite fast, and the main question still remains, that is it worth the price? Well, I certainly think so, because Yamaha bikes have traditionally always been built well, and some parts here and there, but I think this is still a very well made band. It's a lot of fun for a single rider, and of course you cannot get away from the unique looks. So all in all, I still think it's overpriced, but I believe it's a beautiful motorcycle to have a lot of fun on and make a lot of funky memories with. So guys, that's what the MT-15 is all about. Do let me know if you have any particular questions about the bike. I will definitely get back to you immediately. Of course, you have to leave them as a comment. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Dark side of the Japan.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready? They'll record it.